For as long as nations have drawn borders and economies have moved money, families, not governments, not corporations, have quietly shaped the world from behind the curtain. Some did it through industry, some through empires, some through oil or technology, some through centuries of quiet banking influence. Not conspiracy, not myth, just the reality that wealth, once concentrated and organized across generations, becomes something far more powerful than money. It becomes structured. It becomes controlled. These are the 10 families who, through commerce, infrastructure, energy, and finance, play outsized roles in steering the world's wealth, ranked from 10 all the way to the dynasty whose influence has defined global finance for centuries. The Slim family forms the backbone of Latin America's digital world. Carlos Slim once held the title of the richest man alive, but what's more important is what he owns. América Móvil controls telecom networks across more than 25 countries, reaching over 400 million customers. Every call, every text, every internet connection across huge regions flows through infrastructure shaped by the Slim empire. Add banks, construction firms, real estate, and even a stake in the New York Times, and you realize the truth. The Slims don't just make money, they shape how information moves across an entire continent. Across the Atlantic, the Ortega family sits at the center of one of the most quietly powerful empires on Earth, Inditex. Most people know Zara, but few know how radically its fast fashion system changed global manufacturing. Amancio Ortega created a logistics machine so efficient it reshaped labor markets from Bangladesh to Vietnam, controlling massive supply chains and dominating storefronts from Madrid to Shanghai. And while the family rarely appears in public, they own billions in real estate across New York, London, and prime European capitals. Their influence isn't loud. It's woven into every store rack on the planet. Then there's the Al Nahyan family of the United Arab Emirates, a dynasty that doesn't just possess wealth, but state-level wealth. Through the Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, they control nearly $1 trillion in global assets. Ports, airlines, skyscrapers, football clubs, AI companies, and infrastructure stretching from Asia to the United States. When their capital moves, economies shift. When they invest, industries bend. They command one of the world's most powerful sovereign wealth networks, turning oil fortune into geopolitical leverage. In India, the Ambani family reigns over a different kind of empire, one built on energy, petrochemicals, telecom, retail, and now green technology. Reliance Industries is practically the engine of India's modern economy. When Mukesh Ambani launched Jio Telecom, data prices collapsed, and 450 million people came online in a digital revolution. Today, the Ambani network influences everything from India's fuel to its internet to its supply chains. In the world's most populous country, one family sits at the center of its commercial universe. Across the ocean in America, the Koch family has built an industrial machine so large and so politically connected that it reshaped entire eras of U.S. policy. Koch Industries, the second largest private company in America, touches chemicals, oil, manufacturing, and energy infrastructure. But their influence goes further. Decades of political funding, think tanks, lobbying networks, and advocacy groups have made the Kochs one of the most significant forces in U.S. regulatory politics. Their wealth doesn't just operate in markets, it flows through the veins of American governance. The Mars family is different, quieter, more secretive, almost invisible. Yet their power is enormous. Their family-owned empire produces some of the world's most iconic foods: M&M's, Snickers, Twix, Pedigree, Whiskas. They own the world's largest pet hospital and veterinary network. They hold a fortune of more than $160 billion without being listed on any stock exchange. Their empire feeds both humans and animals worldwide, shaping global food systems with a level of control few consumers ever recognize. Then there is the Al Saud family, whose influence is felt every time a barrel of oil is priced. As the ruling family of Saudi Arabia, they preside over Aramco, the most profitable company in human history. Their decisions inside OPEC ripple through global inflation, fuel markets, transportation costs, and international relations. With an estimated collective family wealth exceeding $1.4 trillion, their economic gravity is unmatched. When Riyadh shifts policy, the world adjusts. Their influence isn't theoretical. It touches every nation that needs energy. At number 3 stands the Walton family, the undisputed kings of global retail. Walmart is more than a store. It is a supply chain empire that employs over 2.1 million people, influences manufacturing in China, India, Vietnam, and Bangladesh, and accounts for roughly 3% of America's entire GDP. When the Waltons push for lower prices, factories across the world change overnight. When they negotiate shipping terms, global logistics shift. Their wealth is vast, yes, but their influence over global labor, commerce, and consumer behavior is unparalleled. At number 2 is an emerging dynasty, one formed not over centuries, but in a single lifetime, the House of Bezos. Amazon controls 40% of US e-commerce, runs AWS, the cloud backbone used by governments, militaries, and corporations, and operates a global logistics system that rivals national postal services. Jeff Bezos alone has a personal fortune over $200 billion, but the real power lies in the infrastructure Amazon owns. Warehouses, delivery fleets, data centers, AI platforms, and recommendation algorithms that quietly shape what billions of people buy. It is the modern version of a digital empire. And finally, the family ranked number 1. Not because they are the richest today, but because their influence is layered into the very architecture of modern finance. The Rothschild family. For over 200 years, the Rothschilds financed wars, guided monarchies, helped shape global banking, and built the institutions that became the backbone of modern capitalism. Their wealth today is diffuse, diversified, institutional, but their legacy remains embedded in advisory firms, banking networks, and the DNA of the financial systems we still use. Their power has always been quiet, structured, and far more strategic than the myths surrounding them. They are number 1 not for the size of their fortune, but for the depth of their historical influence. As one analyst famously said, their power is not visible, it is embedded in institutions. And so we end with a realization. The future of wealth is changing. Old dynasties still hold influence, but new AI giants, Middle Eastern sovereign funds, and tech empires are rising fast. The world's wealth is now shaped not just by families, but by algorithms, cloud systems, and data itself. Yet one truth remains. Concentrated wealth, whether held by a royal dynasty, a secretive clan, or a tech visionary, always shapes the direction of nations. Empires rise, empires transform, but families endure.